And I'm getting
Awesome. We are recording. Welcome you guys to a special team call for our Body Electric team. We have Dr. Luigi Gratton here to talk to us. We've already provided him with a few questions kind of that are on our mind. I know he's going to address those and surpass our expectations when it comes to talking to us about nutritionals at Beachbody. So Dr. Luigi, this is my team. Welcome to our call. We have a few coaches here, and I'm sure we're going to have a few challengers either hopping on or tuning in later too. So just people interested in hearing more about Shakeology, performance, and Beachbar. So well, let's just get started with you kind of giving us your background and your introduction, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. So thank you, Jenny, and nice to meet you all. Hopefully I get to meet you either in Mexico next week or at the summit in Indianapolis or wherever you are in the world of Beachbody. So it's a pleasure. So my name is Luigi Gratton. I've been in the company almost 6 months now. I joined November of last year. I'm a family medicine doctor by training. I grew up about 20 minutes away from Beachbody headquarters here in LA. I'm an LA native, which is kind of rare. You don't find a lot of us. I studied physiology here at UCLA. So when I was at UCLA as an undergraduate, that's the University of California, it's literally 10 minutes away from Beachbody headquarters. I was also a track runner and a cross-country runner. So I was always sort of an avid athlete. I loved learning about performance and how nutrition affects performance. Even way back, and I won't tell you when I went to college, but it was way back in the day, they used to have shakes for the athletes, and they only had Ensure, which is kind of for old people, right? The old people shakes. But back then, this is how old I am, back then that was like the performance beverage that they gave to the football players and the basketball players and the track runners. We could steal some stuff at the end of the night when no one else had it. So the point is that early on, I was already using supplementation and shakes in exercise because that was understood as a way to build muscle, to help with recovery, and help with nutrient intake. So sort of if you flash forward, I went on to medical school in New York, Mount Sinai, and I became an MD, so I got my MD certification. So I still write for prescriptions. I'm sort of a regular doctor. Then I studied family medicine. I got board certified in that. And I also studied clinical nutrition here at UCLA. I got board certified in that. So I was always interested in sort of how nutrition not only affects sports performance, but also people with diabetes, people who have high blood pressure, people who've had a heart attack and they need to sort of not have a second one, people who have prostate cancer, breast cancer. So this was my area of interest. And I continued to work at UCLA part-time, and I was working in the nutrition industry as a trainer and making products for about 13 years. So I was really excited about Beachbody, and then I'll get right into your questions, because I knew Michael Neiman, our division president, about 14 years ago. You guys see him on the Super Saturday videos. And we worked together. When Shakeology was already off and running, when many of you were selling it and making it huge, probably 6 years ago, I started noticing Shakeology about 6 years ago, and I wrote Michael, and I said, I gotta understand who made this shake. I've never seen a shake like this in the industry, with pea protein, sacha inchi, flax, chia. It tastes good. I had a friend who gave me some, and I was like, I don't know what you're doing, who's making it, but I've got to understand how you did this. So I was sort of blown away. So that was the introduction. That was 6 years ago. I ended up coming to the company because I was watching for jobs here. And I was also very interested in sustainable nutrition, not using things like soy protein or genetically modified corn, because that's what most of the shake companies are using that your customers may have been using before. So understand that the premium products that we're going to talk about in the shake, the ingredients, are very unique, they're premium, and they're very, very carefully sourced, which we'll get into. So that's my background. That's how I got here. And I can get right into the questions if you like, Jenny, if that's okay.
Sure, that's fine. I was going to ask you to dive straight into Shakeology, so go for it.
So we'll kick it off with Shakeology. So first I'll talk about Shakeology because I drink 2 of these a day, and I always joke. A lot of the questions have been, why does Dr. Luigi drink 2 shakes a day? Is that toxic? And I'm, not at all. You can drink more if you like, but I'm a 730er. Carl Deichler is a 365er. He likes to reward the 365ers. I know he drinks a number of shakes as well, but we love the fact that people who consume a shake a day, it's fantastic. When you think about the shake, it's amazing because of the ingredients that Darren and Isabel often talk about. So if you go on your label, whether it's whey or vegan, think about 5 areas. And I want to sort of make this simple for folks, so we'll boil it down to some basic areas. When someone asks me why Shakeology is so important, like why does it cost so much money, and why is it such a premium shake, and why is it different than a $40 shake that I can get at Costco or Walmart, I always tell them it starts with the protein. The protein that we source, and you'll see the proprietary protein blend up here, the protein we source is clean. Now, I'm not going to knock other companies that I know of that have dirty sources of protein, dirty rice, dirty pea protein, stuff that's got a lot of garbage in it because they source it from countries that don't have good manufacturing practices, and a lot of companies don't care. We care, and we specifically source from places where we know the quality is second to none. That's a major it's a major reason that we source these premium ingredients and why our shake is immediately in a different class than a lot of the stuff that's in the market. Now, we know some of our competitors, Orgain, Garden of Life, Vega One, these are good companies that I believe are reputable, but I just want you to understand there's about 800 shakes in the marketplace. And a lot of your customers say, hey, I can get this for 40 or 50 bucks. And it looks like it's got rice in there. Not all rice protein is the same. You can tell your customers. Not all pea protein is the same. Not all whey. So we source clean protein, and we're gonna hopefully roll this information out to you this year about how great our sourcing is. We want to work on some videos with Darren and Isabel talking about how pure our quality is and how important that is. So that's a big area of sort of pushback that you get from your customers. We want you to feel emboldened and confident that we got some of the best protein, arguably, on the planet. And that blend is very unique. So protein is very important. Number one. Number two, I would say sugar. When you look on the label, we use organic cane sugar. We use stevia. A lot of shake companies that are those $40, $50 shakes, you're going to see fructose. And when you see fructose, that usually means that they got it from genetically modified corn. So ask a customer if you see fructose on the label, or if you see artificial sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, or things like xylitol or maltitol. Those are very popularly used sugar alcohols that we don't mess with. They're synthetic. You see them in a lot of chewing gums. So with xylitol, maltitol, we don't use any of that. Sucralose and aspartame. Sucralose is those little yellow packets you find in your, like in a coffee shop. That's Splenda. And aspartame is NutraSweet that you find in a lot of diet sodas. We don't use any of those. We use organic cane sugar and stevia, and those are considered natural, which is why we can say no artificial colors, preservatives, sweeteners, and things like that. So I want to stop there for a second to see any questions on the protein or the sugar, and I'll keep going through on fats and fiber and phytonutrients. Is that okay?
Yeah, if anybody has any specific questions about that, please send them in the chat down below. We'll check it out. Okay.
So that's really important because you need protein if you're doing 80-day obsession. You got to have protein for your recovery, for your recovery as part of your healthy breakfast. If you're having it as a snack in the afternoon, like I have Shakeology at 7 in the morning, then I have it at 3:30 p.m. before I go home to have dinner with my family. So it's the protein, it's the sugar. If someone asks you, well, this thing is loaded with sugar, you can say, wait a minute, that's not true. We have 7 grams of added sugar. 7 grams is 28 calories, okay? 28 calories is about 1/3 of a piece of fruit. Your average piece of fruit, like a medium-sized banana, is about 100 calories. So if a customer says, hey, whoa, this stuff is loaded with sugar, say, whoa, that's not true. Let me walk you through the label. You can tell your customer, 7 grams, it's organic cane sugar, and about 2 of those 7 grams come from the actual whole fruits and vegetables that we use. We can count those. So it's really only about 4 or 5 grams of organic cane sugar. Okay, so it's actually a very small amount that's used. That's why it tastes so good. So if a customer tells you, hey, I'm drinking the shake that's got no sugar added, and it's got super low, it's like 1 gram of total sugars, ask them how it tastes. Usually those shakes do not sell very well because no one's buying them a second time. The reason why ours tastes so good is the blend, and we use just the right amount, about 7 grams, okay? The last thing you can mention on sugar is low glycemic index. a lot of people, and we haven't done a good job training our folks on the glycemic index. Simply means if I drink a can of soda, that would have a very high glycemic index. And that means that the sugar would be absorbed very quickly. The score of 100 is a very high GI, and that's bad. If I took a big spoonful of just regular table sugar and I ate 2 tablespoons, that's high glycemic index. It goes right into the blood. Low glycemic index, Shakeology, Daily Sunshine, and the Beachbar, which we're going to talk about, these are all certified low glycemic index foods. That means a score of about 40, anywhere between 37 and 44 with our products. That's really good. That means when you have Shakeology or your kids have Daily Sunshine, it enters the bloodstream very slowly and gradually, and your body absorbs that sugar very slowly and gradually. That's a good thing. So if you have patients who are diabetic, we're not saying this is a medical food, but you can tell them, hey, this is a low glycemic index food. You probably want to be conscious of that. Take this to your doctor and ask them if you can use this. Use the Beachbar as a snack, perhaps, because people with diabetes are often looking for low GI foods, okay? So Shakeology, the sugar, organic source, with the organic cane sugar, low glycemic index, okay? So we covered the protein, we covered the sugar, and fats I always like to talk about because we don't put a lot of fats inside Shakeology. And it's really important to consider most of the American diet and the Canadian diet and the British diet, if you have business there, is loaded with something called omega-6 fats. And omega-6, you probably heard of omega-3 fats, fish oil, flax, chia. These are healthy fats that reduce inflammation. Omega-6 fats promote inflammation. So we need them both in about a 1-to-1 ratio. The problem with the modern diet in the UK and Canada and America is that we have 30 times the amount of omega-6 than we do omega-3. This is very commonly studied from a lot of nutritionists. And because of that, most of the diet is highly inflammatory. And because of that, we have attention deficit disorder in kids. We have diabetes and high blood pressure in adults. We have cardiovascular disease and stroke and dementia in older people. We think this is hugely related to the level of omega-6 relative to omega-3. So what do we do with Beachbody? All the products are low in omega-6. We put a little bit of oat oil. You'll notice oils from oats in the Shakeology, and it's really only about 1 gram. So when you drop that omega-6, what happens? Inflammation in the food sort of just cools off. And that's why people will be on Shakeology for a week and they're calling you and they're like, oh my gosh, it's like a bag of magic. I feel amazing, right? It's nothing magical. It's just that they've dropped their omega-6 processed fats that are in cookies, crackers, casseroles, everything that's towards the middle aisles of the shopping area. That's not in the produce section and in the meats and fish. It's filled with omega-6 because omega-6 provides shelf life. So the great thing with Shakeology, low in omega-6, we put a little bit of chia, flax, and oat oil, and that 1-to-1 ratio is very balanced. Okay, so we covered the protein, the carbohydrates, sugar, the fats. We're going to get into fiber now. I would mention all the digestive stuff that Isabel and Darren talk about is really important. Your average customer or new coach could use about 25 grams of fiber every day. The problem is they're only getting about 12 to 14, and this is in all 3 countries that we operate. It's very well established, and the government's always pushing public health initiatives. Eat more fiber, 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. No one's paying attention, unfortunately, because we like hamburgers and French fries and stuff that's not really filled with fiber. The most commonly eaten fruits and vegetables in the US, potatoes for all the French fries and potato chips that we eat. If any of you've seen Carl Deichler's posts today, he's declared a war on chips because potato chips are the number 1 snack in the US. So we want people to get off that, and we're going to talk about Beachbar. But thinking about potatoes is the number 1 most consumed food for the potato chips and the French fries that we eat. Tomatoes are the number 2 most consumed or processed because of all the ketchup that we dip the French fries in. This is by the USDA numbers, not mine. And then number 3 is lettuce for all the hamburgers that people eat. It's crazy. So that's really bad. We're not eating a lot of fiber in any of the 3 countries where we operate. So we recommend fiber and digestive enzymes in Shakeology. We can get 5 grams depending on which blend. But let's say 4 grams of fiber. And that helps to get your customers up to that 25 grams. If they're using the Digestive Health Boost, they're putting 7 additional grams. Now you got a cup of Shakeology with 7 grams of the boost. That's going to be 11 grams. You've literally got them to their target of 25 grams because they're probably having about 12 or 14. So that changes everything. They're going to the bathroom normally. A lot of people don't want to talk about their bowel habits. It's something that we don't do in America, and I'm sure they're not doing it in Canada and the UK. But if you just ask them, do you have any upper GI issues, indigestion, or do you have any problems sometimes being regular? There's a way to ask that. You give them 1 Shakeology and a scoop of Digestive Boost, they're off to the races. And they're going to thank you and be a lifelong customer and probably sign up as a coach. So protein, sugar, fats, the fiber, and those digestive enzymes and probiotics. And the last thing that I would mention is all the phytonutrients that you see on the back. The colorful fruits and vegetables and the antioxidants, the things that Darren just is the superfood hunter and goes off on. This is something that makes us unique. There are over 60 ingredients in the shake. And the exciting thing is this really unique blend of Shakeology makes us really, I want to say the most complex, but I like to say the most elegant shake. If you're listening to like a piece of like fine music, no one ever says, wow, that composition was really complex. They say it was really elegant. That's how I think of Shakeology. It's this mix of 60 plus ingredients, but it's done with like, not complexity, but with elegance. So understand that we are the most intricate in the marketplace, and that's why we're the best in class. So sorry, the long drawn out answer, but I wanted you to get some sort of specific points that if you're talking to a new coach, you can give them protein, sugar. Think about 5 points. Protein, sugar, fats, and then fiber and these digestive things, and then the phytonutrients, which are unique. So I'll stop there. And Jenny, hopefully that wasn't too much, but I wanted to kind of present it in a digestible way.
No, I think that's good because I think obviously as coaches, we need to know how to be talking about this. And a lot of times, our customers aren't familiar with what's necessarily important about the shake. So if we know what's important, or if we have these 3 to 5 talking points, then we have content to use to help them understand better. So it looks like we have one question from Tara who just says, what about the person who says they don't need all those ingredients? So we do occasionally get people who are like, well, I'm not really a shake person. Like I believe in eating whole foods or, real food versus a shake. What would you say to them?
So I would say absolutely fantastic. The beauty of Beachbody is that we provide options for everyone. If someone doesn't want I believe that shakes are going to be sort of like life-saving for the human race at some point, because people in every single country, even developing countries, are just getting fat. It's getting worse. And they're getting all these sort of Western diseases, these chronic diseases. So the data is showing that the world's not doing well with their diet. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and more fast food's going out. So to me, I think of our Shakeology as the answer that helps to bridge people into whole foods. So I could talk to someone, I can talk to a patient for an hour. I'm like, go eat healthy, do this, do that. They just don't know what to do. So the Shakeology is a wonderful bridge to get them started. And that's why I love this as a connection to get off the burgers, fries, and chips and make some significant changes in their day. It tastes great. They don't feel like they're cheating. It's amazing, and they're compliant. But if someone says, you know what, I'm into whole foods, say, awesome. This is where I love when Autumn is talking about, like, she likes whole foods first, and then she'll go into supplements afterwards. She relies on whole foods. And I'm all about that. I'm always talking about that. The problem is most of your customers, if you take 7 or 8 out of 10 customers, they're not eating healthy whole foods. It's just the data shows that, right? Now, in Beachbody, we attract very wholesome, healthy folks, and that's cool. So perhaps they just want to do their their meal plans and eating well, so they can do that absolutely fine. So I wouldn't push Shakeology on anyone, but I would encourage them if they're struggling with their calories, struggling with their diet, or providing that bridge. I think this is the way to go. So.
Yeah, and Jackie has a question that I've actually been getting this same question from some of my challengers, so I'm glad she brought it up so that we can address it with you. She says some challengers that she has are struggling with some bloating with Shakeology. I've been hearing this too, like through the grapevine, that a few people have mentioned that they've been having some issues maybe with the cane sugar or something else. So she's asking, could the digestive boost help that, or is it just more of a case-by-case, person-by-person scenario?
So this goes back to sort of your first question, Jenny. Some people don't do very well on, let's say, 16 to 17 grams of protein. That may be a significant load of protein. There's a percent of like the human population that has like their acid base status in their stomach doesn't really do well with a big protein load. So when they see a big protein load, and 16 to 17 grams isn't huge, but when you figure 20 to 25 is really the maximal amount that we can really digest in one sitting. So if I eat a big ribeye steak, and I love ribeye, if I eat a ribeye steak, I'm probably only going to really digest about 20 grams of that protein. The other 20 or 30 grams is just going like I'm voiding it, or it's getting converted to other stuff. So when we have 16 to 17 grams of Shakeology, it's right in the sweet spot for digestion for most people. Some people are sensitive to 16 to 17 grams, so I would dial them down with the scoop. I would try them in half a scoop or 3/4 of a scoop, see how they do with that, number one. If you're using almond butter, almond milk, or organic soy milk, or if they're in the regular dairy milk, organic milk, whatever they like, you may want to switch the milk because that has lactose, or some like almond milks are a little bit higher in sugar and lower in protein. I would switch them out of that and just add water. So I would ask them if they're using any kind of dairy or any types of milks, non-dairy milks that have more sugar. Maybe cut that out and try them on the water. And then also number two, cut the dose in half or 3/4 and see how they do. Because you can kind of sort of wean them, and I say wean them down, cut them down, and then dial them back up, see how they do. But it's a very valid question. And having worked in nutrition for many years, it's pretty common with people who are starting on shakes who haven't tried things out. Absolutely. But I would, to the other part of that question, adding the digestive health may help, because think about it, when you add fiber and protein, what it does is it just slows the rate of absorption. So if there's the protein that's going in a little fast for some people who are kind of these fast metabolizers, if you will, the fiber may slow that down and they may do better on it. So I never really thought of that till you asked that. So I would say, yeah, the fiber actually may be one of the good ways to help. Greens may or may not help, but I would say the digestive health boost, the actual fiber, 7 grams, could actually slow things down. That's what fiber does. Soluble fiber slows things, and that's better.
Awesome.
So,
awesome. Cool. That's perfect. Well, if you want to, we can segue a little bit into just performance line. And you can, if you're willing to touch on that for us, we would love for you to just give us an overview of that, similar to how you did with the Shakeology.
You got it. So question is the one you sent me, Jenny. How do our performance products compare to other products in the market? Now I'm going to grab Recover. I've got Recover, Recharge right behind me here. So let me get a few of them. And so I can address these, and Energize. And I'm going to go into these three just because I want to, and by the way, I'm okay with time, Jenny. I'm fine. I just want to respect your time if you need to do a hard stop, but I can go for as long as you like. It's no issue. All right. But so real quickly, when you finish a workout, you want to think about Recover and Recharge. I always suggest, and we position Recover as something you want to use soon after your workout. Why? Because the blend of protein in Recover is whey, that's a dairy-based protein, micellar casein, with a C, casein, that's also dairy protein, and we also add pea protein. So you got 3. It's a fast-acting blend that gets into the muscle tissue as soon as you finish your workout. So whatever your workout you're doing, you want to quickly get your Recover in. 1 serving is perfect. That's going to give you 20 grams of protein. Let's see, I'm going to make sure I'm good. Yeah, 20 grams of protein. Then at night, when you're still trying to repair that muscle tissue, because every time you exercise, doesn't matter what you do, you damage muscle fibers. That's the way the human body works. So at night, once you've sort of done your quick Recover, you're going to do your slow-acting Recharge. And Recharge, which has the micellar casein, is slower absorbed and slowly repairing the muscle tissue. So imagine if I've been saying this in the trainings, if I broke a hole in the wall with a hammer, I'd want to quickly patch the wall. That's like fixing your muscle tissue immediately with Recover. And then at night when I leave the office, let's say we bring a carpenter in here and he's working behind the wall. That's what Recharge is doing. Slowly putting in more drywall, putting in some more wood, repairing the baseline. That's why we position these two as quick acting and then slower acting, okay? And we're gonna bring some new research at the Summit event on Recover and Recharge. It's really exciting because it's gonna talk about exercise inflammation and recovery. Last thing I would say about these two products, we use pomegranate in Recover, which means you feel much less soreness the next day. And we use tart cherry in Recharge, and that's what lowers that delayed onset of muscle soreness. It literally, and we can make the claim on the label because those two nutrients actually reduce your muscle soreness. And you're gonna hear a lot more on that because we have a research study on that as well. Super exciting stuff. Okay, so Recover, Recharge. We know that most of you are using Recover when we look at your sales data. And by the way, Recover has some of the highest retention for your customers in the company. I want to say that again. If you're a coach and you're a big retailer, Recover has some of the highest retention with your customers. That means when a customer buys from your basket online or whatever, they are probably ordering this for some of the longest amount of time when we look at the sports performance products, okay? Now I'm going to go to the actual highest retention of all the products, Energize. And this is the real hit record. And when I came in and was learning about the products, I was like, why does everyone love Energize? I like caffeine. I'm a little caffeine sensitive, but people are going bananas over this. Couple reasons. Number one, we use pure caffeine from green tea and coffee bean. So it's really pure source. It's not synthetic. It's not chemically modified. A lot of companies that are using, I won't get into the energy drinks, but if anyone's using an energy drink, get them on this product because Energize is pure caffeine. It's natural, okay? Very important. Number one, 100 milligrams per scoop. And if you want to use 2 scoops, that's 200 milligrams. 1 cup of coffee is about 100 milligrams, just so you know. 1 Red Bull is about 100 milligrams, 90 to 100, depending on what you're getting. So that would give you about the sense of what that means. Now, number 2, when you drink the product and you feel a tingle in your cheek or in your skin somewhere in your body, that's normal. That's called the beta-alanine. Beta-alanine converts to something called carnosine. Not important, but beta-alanine buffers the lactic acid in your blood. What does that mean? It means when you're doing, let's say, 10 repetitions in 80-day obsession or 15 reps, if you usually fatigue at rep number 8, Energize, literally, that beta-alanine buffers the lactic acid, you don't get fatigued, and you can do 15 reps. And that's why the claim on the label says, improves intense exercise performance. We're allowed to legally make that claim, and it works, of course, in all countries, but we're allowed to legally make that claim, especially in the US, because the beta-alanine. So you got the natural caffeine, beta-alanine, and one of my favorite ingredients, it's in a small amount, but please share this with your customers, magnesium citrate. You'll see like citric acid, magnesium citrate. This to me was a sign that Beachbody is a phenomenal company. Very few products use magnesium citrate. It's expensive, it's premium, it's hard to source, and it's the best absorbed variety of magnesium. So magnesium does 300 different reactions in the body, from your brain to your heart to your muscles. It helps to relax muscle tissue so you don't cramp. Magnesium citrate is probably the best absorbed, and that's a sign to me that we're using the best magnesium. I knew that's when Energize was amazing. That's why people feel results. So I'm going to stop there. I'm yammering away, but I wanted you to understand that these 3 products, highest retention if you've got customers, Energize, of all the sports performance products, and probably the best selling. Second highest retention, Recover, and also one of the top sort of 2 hit records, Energize and Recover. Okay, so I'd stop there, and I want to see, Jenny, if you have any questions or anyone's got anything that they want to.
I just want to make sure that I mention here to my coaches too that this particular month they're doing a special, obviously, on the mega pack for the challenge pack that includes Shakeology and the performance line, includes the Energize and Recover. And I've already been pretty blown away by the fact that I'm offering that pack, of course, to my customers, and a lot of people are actually choosing that pack. Michael Niemand was here for Super Sunday this past Sunday, and he talked about that too, about how we need to make sure we're offering that to people because people are coming to us because they want results. So if they really want results, we've got to make sure we're talking to them not only about Shakeology, but performance. And you guys have even seen in our current 80-day obsession group the type of results people are getting. And I know most of those people are also consuming everything that they started with, right? They've kept on that energize, they've kept on that recover. So that's awesome. Okay, so one thing that I'm glad Michelle asked, because I was actually going to ask the same question. I'm dairy sensitive. The only dairy I consume in my diet is Recover, and I do it because the pros outweigh the cons for me. So we were curious as to whether or not there's any investigation into, vegan or dairy-free Recover or Recharge.
Absolutely, and the answer is yes, because all of your respective coaches, your customers have voiced their opinions on this. And we have an overwhelming amount of interest in a vegan Recover and Recharge. So one thing we started looking at probably several months ago was doing a vegan Recover, because it's far, let's just say it drives more business for all of you coaches. And we know that it's sort of, again, one of the hit records. So we think that would be more important to get into the marketplace first. But we want to first figure out if we can make it, because when you use vegan, that means you're not using whey or the casein. And we have to make sure the amino acid blend, all the protein components are just right. So they get into the muscle tissue at the right speed and they service that lean muscle mass. So you feel better the next day. So the answer is yes, we're investigating it. I continue to tell coaches we're not making any promises, but we're going to do the best we can to see if we can get a product like that in the marketplace. It wouldn't happen this year, but we're working on it as fast as we can to see if it's possible, it's feasible. And it's a great question. And by the way, when we talk about the bars, which I think is the last question, people have asked about vegan bars as well, because we have whey protein in the Beachbar. And we're also looking at, because a lot of coaches said, hey, can we get a vegan Beachbar? So we put that sort of in the queue to see if we can make that as well. So just want you to know, we want to make things that you coaches sell and that your customers want. So it's really important that you let us know, whether it's on Facebook, voice your concerns, because this is the market we want to address. We're different than so many companies because we have these specific concerns. So we welcome these questions. They're really important. So thanks for that, Jenny. I want to make sure. And I was. Yeah,
oh yeah, let's go ahead and segue into the Beachbar, because I know for me, I've been a coach now for over 8 years, and so I've had clients asking what's the best bar for me to consume, and I think I've even written blog posts on Quest bars and the sucralose that's in Quest bars. I feel like I talk to people about it all the time. So I'm gonna let you cover the Beachbar, and I'm gonna let you cover sort of, let's talk a little bit about like the quality of it, just the overall science behind it, and how awesome it really is. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, my pleasure. So here are your bars. There's chocolate cherry almond. There's chocolate peanut butter. Peanut butter chocolate. So the two of them are just about equivalent with all the nutrients. We think about 150 calories, 10 grams of protein. So first, let me give you sort of the pitch in terms of why we made this bar. Coaches asked for this bar. So this is a wonderful example of us, the company, listening to coaches. This was before my time. In test groups, they said we need a snack bar. Very importantly, you just mentioned Quest, Jenny, and the Quest bar, which is a very popular bar, and a lot of your customers will probably tell you they use that, but it's a very different bar. It's sort of a higher protein, built for like folks who are in the gym a lot. We clearly work out, but we position this as a snack bar. Why? The snack bar market is much bigger. It's a $7 billion market. It's a massive multi-billion dollar, $7 billion market. And when you think about the top players in that market, really in the US, Canada, and the UK, it's Lara Bar, Cliff Bar, RX Bar, and what am I missing? And Kind Bar. So Kind, Lara, Cliff, and RX. And these are very popular, massively sold snack bars. We took those four and we compared them calorie for calorie. And calorie, so we did a standardization because some are different calories and different amounts of protein. So we have calorie for calorie, apples to apples comparison more protein, more fiber, and less sugar. Okay, so we have more protein, more fiber, less sugar. Now, a lot of you may say, well, is that really important? So it is, because if you want to talk about, if you're talking to a customer who has snack bars, they've probably had a Cliff kind or Lara bar or one of those types, right? Or one of the top competitors. You can simply show them on the box, right on the top, 150 calories, 10 grams of protein, 0 trans fats, 4 grams of fiber, and it's gluten-free. So you can share that as you're unveiling the bars, because there's 15 in each container. But as you're showing them that, or if you're sampling or whatever you're doing, you can just read those points right there in the box. So you don't have to try and memorize all this stuff. But just understand, if they're talking like, oh, I like, in fact, on Julie Voris's call, on the last call, I just had someone ask, well, I've been trained to look for bars that have minimal ingredients. And that's like the Lara bar, the RX bar, which is cool. They kind of keep it simple. And that's wonderful. The problem is with those bars, they use a lot of dates. They use a lot of dried fruits, wholesome sources of sugar. So they're higher in sugar. And a lot of your customers don't want that much carbohydrate. So we look at this as a better bar, because calorie for calorie, we're higher in protein, lower in sugar, and higher in fiber. Okay. So I would just mention those 3 points. You're going to see those, by the way, all this comparison stuff, you're going to see this online in the marketing material. I believe it's already launched if you look around, and you're going to see all this kind of comparisons, protein, fiber, calorie, and we literally call out those 4 popular bars because we're just doing a comparison. So you'll be able to take that, you can download it, you can print it, you can carry it around and show your customers if you're doing if you're talking to someone in person, or just share that online and post it on Instagram, whatever you like. Now, we don't want to attack those companies. We're simply saying, this is what we got, this is what you guys got, we think we're better. So I would say that's very important. Jenny, I'd like to mention a couple commonly asked questions that I've gotten from the trainings in Super Saturday. I was in New York, and then in all the trainings that I've been doing in the last 2 weeks. A lot of people ask about the source of palm oil, like where we get the palm oil. Because when you think about the fats in the bar, we use a little bit of fats. Fats provide texture, so the bar is chewy and you get a little bit of a crunch, and then when you're chewing on it, it's got a little bit of a texture, a nice chewy texture. That's because we use some things like palm kernel oil. Now, a lot of you who've ever had chocolate hazelnut spread from Nutella, which is a European company, years ago, they suffered 3 years ago, they suffered a major problem because they were buying non-sustainable palm oil. And that simply means they were buying it from these rainforests that were being destroyed, and a lot of endangered species of animals were being killed off. People found out about it, and they destroyed this company, Nutella. Their sales went way down. I had actually was working in another country. I was traveling, and some people were telling me about how they weren't buying, they were boycotting the company. Massive problem. So a lot of your customers heard about this, and they're going to ask you, when they see the palm oil, they'll say, whoa, 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 palm oil? Are you guys destroying rainforests to get your palm oil? Absolutely not. We use a certified sustainable source of palm oil. It's a palm kernel oil. It's going to be in one of your FAQs. Okay, you'll see that online, an FAQ that we post, and it will say, if any of your customers ask, we source sustainable palm kernel oil. It's not endangering the rainforest nor any species. And that just means the farmers are like, if they cut down a palm tree, they grow another palm tree. So it's keeping the rainforest intact. That's one question we get. A second question on palm oil that a lot of your customers may ask is, from the Nutella issue, is that if it's heated very high and if there are any byproducts that are bad for the human body. So no, we make sure that we order the sustainable palm kernel oil, which is not heat treated at high temperatures. It's kept at low temperatures, and therefore none of these toxic byproducts that other companies were experiencing, like Nutella, we don't have any of that, okay? So I just wanted you to hear that, because your customers are going to see palm oil and they may freak out and say, oh, palm oil is a wonderful fat. We use a little bit of it. You'll see a tiny bit of saturated fat on your label. That's from some of the palm oil. And it's a really nice texture, gives a good mouthfeel for the bar. and people are going to love the bar. So I just want you to understand it's sustainable, it's safe, super healthy, no issues, okay? That's a commonly asked question we've been getting. Right? Another question we get is on the sugar source. What are we using? Well, you actually get some sugar from the natural chocolate chips that you're going to find in the bar. We also use organic cane sugar, which we use in Shakeology, and we use in Daily Sunshine, and you're seeing that in your performance products now. Organic cane sugar, and by definition, that simply means if we're buying organic cane sugar, it comes from a farm, no genetically modified ingredients on that farm, no pesticides, no herbicides, because that's United States Department of Agriculture definition of USDA standards, okay? So when you see organic cane sugar on the label, that means a lot of purity and sourcing goes into that. And that's why we want organic cane on there, okay? So you're also going to see something like tapioca, like if you ever had tapioca pudding. We get a little bit of prebiotic, helps to feed your healthy bacteria in your gut. It's just a tiny bit, and it provides a little sweetness. And the last point I would make on the Beachbar is that we wanted wholesome ingredients. So if you listen to Isabel, when she's talking about making a shake, she talks about nut butters that she mixes into her shake. She talks about avocado for those healthy monounsaturated fats that we like to have our kids, give our kids. And those are the almond nut butters and the peanut butter that we use in the bar. So I'll stop there to see if you have any questions on the proteins, the source of sugar, or the fats, because they're all great sources.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions about the Beachbar, please comment with them. If you guys haven't had a chance to try them yet, those of you at Super Sunday, I know you were able to have a little tiny taste, but I ordered mine. I haven't gotten any messages about back order. I've been seeing some people say they've gotten a message about it. Hopefully mine's on its way. I can't wait. So it's funny because I had a conversation with a couple of clients today that were wanting to order the bars, and I'm really not getting very much hesitation with the bars. And it's you know, I think they're such a great price, $2.60 a bar, right? For a customer price, $2 a bar for a coach price. And obviously the quality that's put into it matters. So the marketing materials that you guys have put out have really been great for the coaches, because they've really helped us kind of connect to the customer why it's important that this bar is better. So, okay, does anybody have any specific questions about the Beachbar before we let Dr. Luigi go? You can send them in the chat, regardless of whether they have questions. We're so grateful for your time. We actually will have the great fortune of talking to Isabel Deichler next week. We're gonna kind of rack her brain a little bit about Daily Sunshine too. But we are so very grateful for you for spending some time with us tonight. I know that your time is very valuable, and I personally won't be in Mexico this year, but I know we have some coaches that'll be there. Hopefully they'll get to meet you, and we'll get to see you in Indy at Summit for sure. So have you been to Indianapolis, like to really be in Indianapolis before?
I've never been to Indy. I have, years ago, I worked with a nutrition company that was sponsoring the IndyCar race series. Mm-hmm. And I worked on a couple of the Indy series before they went to the Indy 500. So I was hoping to work, like, my dream was to see like the IndyCar racetrack and sort of see what was going on there. And I never made it out. I only visited a couple of the tours outside of Indy. But so I've never been, so I'm really looking forward to it. And I just did a call with Darren and Isabel 2 days ago, because we're practicing for a Shakeology stage presentation to deliver really great new information on Shakeology, stuff that you can take to the marketplace and give a lot of confidence in. So stay tuned. Isabel and Darren have got some great stuff for you. So we're excited.
Great. That's great. Excellent. Well, awesome, you guys. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in here tonight. Thanks again to Dr. Luigi and Beachbody for letting us set up this call. We really appreciate it. And you guys, I will see you next week on our next call. Great. Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jenny. Take care. Have a great evening, everyone.